14th. I hope that everyone is doing well, had a good weekend. I hope that all your holiday plans are going well and we're all getting ready for Christmas. Just wait. Let's see, we got one person on. All right. Now it takes a second for people to find us. All right. Okay. We got a few on now. So good morning, everybody. Morning, Pandora. Thanks for joining us. I hope you all had a great weekend. I hope you're looking forward to a good week. Everybody got their Christmas shopping done, I hope. I made the mistake of going out this weekend to go and pick up something at the store on Monday on Saturday. It was horrible. Everybody's doing their Christmas shopping. Morning, Dee. Good to see you from Oklahoma. All right. Well, we'll get started. I hope you're all doing well. Thanks for joining with me. Just to summarize what we talked about yesterday in church, for those who attend Bethesda or watched it or are connected with us, we're going through this Advent season. It's the third week. Yesterday was the third week of Advent. And we looked at the verse from Isaiah 61 where God is speaking to the people through the prophet Isaiah, right? Isaiah is like a microphone for him. God speaks directly to him, and Isaiah conveys the message and is telling them, the Israelite people, they lost a huge battle with a rival enemy. And back then they had something called the spoils of war. And so if you were the losing army, the winning army would just kill all the rest of your military. So there's no one else to rise up against you. They would usually kill most the rest of the men of your society. The women, children were either taken in as slaves or killed as well. And then they took all the possessions they could of your stuff. And then they brought you back to their land. So the Israelite people, the ones that remained who lived, they were slaves in exile in Babylon for generations. Now they've been released. They're on their way home. They are home, and everything is destroyed. There is no promised land. There is no great temple. There's no great sanctuary. It's been destroyed. Everything, and they're building it back up. But the people are getting discouraged because it's going to be a lot of work. You cannot just go down to Home Depot and get your supplies. You had to make your supplies. They're all building it back up, but most of the people weren't even alive to see it, what it once was. And so they're trying to live up and be a people that they don't know how to be. They never were. They were born in bondage and captivity. And so they are they're trying to rebuild something they don't know about, and they're deeply discouraged. And so God is speaking to them through the prophets and telling them that God is with them the whole time, and that they can do this. And he's reminding them that they've been called not to build up. That the main thing is, it's not about stuff. God doesn't care about your building. God doesn't care about the temple being rebuilt. God doesn't need any of those things. And God's telling them, listen, you're called to build up the world. You're called to build a better world. And so he's reminding them that the systems that they create, the structures, those are far more important than any buildings or houses or temples. It's the system, because God is a God of justice. The text tells us that God hates thievery and robbery and oppression and all of these things. And God is a God of justice and mercy. And so the systems that are put into place, that are being rebuilt, start over, should be systems that do the same. And so we're reminded this Advent season, we are reminded that Jesus came to us in flesh and blood through an infant, in the manger, but that infant grows up and changes people's lives and the world, essentially. But God does it through us, and we're called to go out and to do the same. We're called to make our relationships better. We're called to make the systems that we are a part of work better. That means our church systems, our work systems, our political systems, our judicial systems, everything. It's all, again, and I'm not saying it does not have to be these Christian organizations. All systems are built to help people, to make sure that people don't fall between the cracks. They're marginalized. They are there to help everyone. And they don't have to be Christian systems, right? They have to be good. They have to be just. They have to be right. I think that's where we get it wrong. I think, as a church, we think, well, if we're going to be a part of it, it has to be a Christian system. So we're only going to connect with those things that have the same beliefs and values. Those are good and really important, but they don't have to be. If they're doing good in the world, then that is a Christian thing. Just because it doesn't have a title of Christian, or it's owned by the government, or it's owned by a different group of people. If they're doing good in the world, that is what God is about. God is involved if they're doing good. If people are being loved and treated fairly, if they're taken care of when they fall down, that is as God is intended. That is Christian. Even if there's no name or title or devotion or prayer that's given, there's no minister overseeing it. That is a Christian organization if good is being done. I think we get this wrong. We have to. Sometimes we think, well, if we're going to be a part of it, well, we need to rebrand it. It has to be a Christian organization. It has to have Christian values in everything. It has to be Christian in name. But we're not in that business. We're not in the rebranding business, the changing everything so that it has a better title and that it is a Christian organization. If it's doing good for another person, if it's loving people without judgment or condition, without a condition, that is Christian at its core. That is what God is about. Notice when Jesus came, Jesus did not create a church, a denomination. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't either. I'm saying that wasn't a thing that Jesus felt was important at the time. Jesus didn't want to get involved in that. Jesus wanted to come and to help, to minister, to connect with people just as they are. And so we shouldn't be so concerned about the title of the help or the system. We should ask ourselves, is it doing good? And if it is, let's join in. If it's not, we'll find something else. But if they're helping people, if they're connecting, if they're helping to make the world a better place, then what's more Christian? What is more godly than that? Because that is what God is about. And so we're called to help organizations and groups. We're so called to connect, to help make the world a better place. And so I encourage you to think about ways in which we can take up and do our part to help make the world a better place. It doesn't have to I'm sharing an office with my 6-year-old daughter who's just logging into school. So if you hear some noises,
I had to be quiet so I couldn't talk to my friends.
Oh, okay. They're gathering to talk to friends. So, all right. Well, I hope this gives us a little bit more to think about and to dive into as we wrestle with what it means to follow Christ in the world today, what it means to be a good person.
My usual spot
And so-
office.
And so I hope that this gives us something to think about. I want to make sure that we lift up any prayers, if anyone has any, as we go into this time of prayer. Let's take this time to pray. Gracious God, we thank you for the gift of a new day. We thank you for all that you've given to us. We're thankful that during this time of Advent, we are reminded that you came into the world through Jesus. That you showed us how to live, how to connect with people, how to love people just as they are. And so, God, we ask that you help us to go out and to continue the work that Jesus began of showing love and inclusion and acceptance, grace, mercy, all those beautiful things that you showed to us first, that we're called to continue to spread, that we don't accept your love and then just sit back, but we take your love by sharing it, by loving others, by helping others. So help us to be a part of this, God. It is not an easy thing to do. It will require so much of us. But there's nothing worthwhile than to help another. It is life-changing. And so help us to be on this mission. God, we take this time to lift up people that we are connected to in our communities, and our hearts, our families, our friends, that we lift up before you this morning, God. For Linda Herlock, who is battling sickness and is in the hospital, God. For Carmen Molnar, Rodney Beebe, Bill Wilson. For the passing of Pandora's aunt, Edna. For Andy Stover Kennington, for Jackie Ayers, Francis White. For Jane Long, who's battling cancer. For Ed Wiest. For Alton, family of Alton Atkins, Nancy Rowe recovering from surgery, baby Owen recovering from multiple surgeries as a newborn. For Sherry Bolts, Lynn Ryan, Chase Cathell, Denny Mogan, we lift up all these names to you, God, knowing that you are a God of healing, a God of love, and a God of comfort. And you've called us to do the same, so help us to show that to these people as well. God, we praise you and thank you for who you are and all that you're going to do in and through us. For this, God, we thank you. It's in your name we pray. Amen. All right. Well, thank you for gathering with me this morning. Pandora, Kyle, Carolyn, Miss Joyce, my mother-in-law, Dee Tyler, thank you for gathering with us. I appreciate all of you. Cassidy, say bye. All right. Hope you all have an amazing rest of your day. Please reach out if there's anything we can do to help you, to minister to you, to pray for you. If you have any questions, feel free. Write them in the comment section here. I'll see it, and I'll try to respond as soon as I can. But you all have an amazing rest of your Monday, and we'll see you back here next week. God bless.